Hey everybody, this is JR from West Virginia and Commonplace, and I am here to tell you about Anchor Nebula and their Go Anywhere series of projectors. They are some of the best projectors you can use when you're on the go, going camping, just even around the house. And these models include the Capsule 2, the Capsule 3 laser, and the brand new Mars 3. So definitely take time to go out and grab one of these projectors, and you will be immersed in an experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. Remember, Anchor Nebula is the way to go.
WV Uncommon Place. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommon Place digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacey and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to our Uncommon Place.
This one right here, we're going to go back into some comic book history here. Let's get back to the 90s. Jim Lee and Brandon Cho unveiled a superpower universe that will soon take over. Wildcats, short for Covert Action Teams, introduced us to an ensemble of alien-human hybrids who protected Earth from cosmic threats. The comic book series paved the way for an animated adaptation in 1994. The Wildcats animated series brought the intense action and complex characters to the small screen, led by Spartan, a former Coda warrior. In the mysterious void, the team battled the evil Dominion Knights. The rise of the Wildcats extended beyond comics and animation. Video games like Wildcats Covert Art Teams allow players to step into the shoes of these powerful heroes, adding another level to their multimedia legacy. As the 90s rolled on, Wildcats became a cornerstone of Image Comics, lineup, with crossover events and spinoffs, and the universe expanding, creating a sprawling tapestry of interconnected stories. So for me, Wildcats was an alternative. I was always like a person like anybody that watches WCW over WWE or vice versa back then, or we called it WWF back then. You had DC and you had Marvel, and then you had Image. Image to me was more, and I'm not talking about like seeing Man comics, but I'm talking about like just in the normal thing with Savage Dragon and everything else that was involved with them. Their characters were more beefy and more, I don't know, the animation was different. So that caught my eye, and I liked having an alternative, and their comic books were a little bit cheaper too. So my mom, I would take my allowance and spend it diligently however I wanted, but I would definitely go and get these comics ever getting some of the X-Men stories, because the only X-Men story that I liked in the 90s was Age of Apocalypse, and that was in 94. So at the same time, this stuff was big, and the characters, the toys that were made with this, the toys are still spectacular to this day if you can get your hands on any of them. So we'll go into what happened. What happened with this and Wildcats didn't die like most other things did. It just fell apart in places. And, people tried to revive it. The cartoon went the way of every other cartoon that was on USA at the time. It was in USA's action block, and it just didn't hold up. Now, the Wildcats, even to this day, from the comics to their toys to everything that goes on with them, ever so often you see a reissue. And I want to say that the Wildcat toys, if I remember correctly, I think that was my first dab into Todd McFarlane's toys. Let me check. Let's see. Yeah, these Wildcat toys, I'm looking at them right now. Yeah, this was my first dab into like something crazy with those toys. Playmates made them. My bad. Playmates made them. But they had a lot of detail to them, more than what the X-Men did at that time. So it's kind of like I was into it, and the characters, Zealot and the rest of them, were pretty cool. I think the one was this, one of their characters kind of looked like what the animated version of, old dude from Guardians of the Galaxy, what's his name? Jax. One of their characters looks like him, the one like you can see in the Silver Surfer animated series. But anyway, Wildcats played a part there. Savage Dragon, they all came in the same realm, so I can kind of tie them both together. Savage Dragon had the same cartoon, had a video game too, so that video game, TV show formula, and comic book deal, you hit those three mediums back then, you were gold. So that's the story on this one. So nothing too deep to go into about Wildcats. It was a great series. If you get a chance to check it out, definitely, because it's one of those things from the mid-90s, and Jim Lee moved around from here to there, and he's had stops at multiple places, but this was one time that I think he had a lot of creative control, and he enjoyed what he was doing, and you can just tell in the characters and how they're designed and everything else that goes along with it. So once again, I'm JR from West Virginia Uncommon Place. Please keep seeking the uncommon, and it'll bring you right back to West Virginia Uncommon Place. Signing off.
Please follow WV Uncommon Place on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at oncommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.